Hello friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. Let's start our video with a story in which beggars dared to call our OP names even though he wanted to help them. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Nice couple, not, at the improv show. So the theater gave me a ticket for two to go see an improv show. Since it was last minute, I couldn't find anyone to be a +1. No big deal, I can have fun on my lonesome. Besides, I thought, I'd find another single in the queue and surprise them with a free ticket. My plan was kind and cheery in the holiday spirit. What could go wrong? When I got in line, I saw everyone I saw was either in pairs or in large groups. Not wanting to waste a seat, I asked a couple in the line ahead of me. I explained my story and offered them a free ticket. The pair were happy, thanked me, and reached for my ticket. I thought they misunderstood, so I clarified that they were only getting one free ticket, that I wanted to see the show and didn't want to waste a free ticket. The guy was annoyed, telling me they both were paying for their own ticket and that it wasn't fair to decide who got the free ticket. To my surprise, the girl finally told me to just give her the ticket for two. What a cheek. I recommended that they can both pay half for the other ticket, but they kept protesting. Hey, I know times are tough, but if you were willing to pay for your own ticket before I showed up, why are you in line for a seemingly expensive improv show? Tensions were growing higher, and after going in circles with this give us both tickets, don't be a jerk crap, I was ready to end this. I gave them an ultimatum. Either take the extra ticket or don't. You're not getting two. The two grumbled and accepted. They both turned their back on me, muttering under hushed tones to each other. I instantly regretted the whole thing and looked around to see if anyone new showed up. Luckily, I saw a woman down the line who looked like she was alone, so I left the queue. I heard the man behind me yell out, "Hey, where are you going?" But I ignored him. I spoke to the girl and offered her the free ticket. She was happy, thanked me, and we made small chat before the theater started letting people in. On the way to our seats, we passed the couple who were sitting on the aisle. I heard the woman say, "Effing B," as I passed. Show was hilarious. I got petty revenge on a pair of jerks, and I made a nice stranger's night. Win-win, I think. And our second story. List all family members with deceased medical condition. Okay? So I'm an incoming graduate student at a big school, and a requirement to be in person is to complete an immunization and medical history form. Sounds standard and fair considering the environment we're in. Well, on one of the sections, it wanted me to list medical conditions of my family members. The exact wording was something like, list medical conditions of your family, mother, father, grandparents, etc. This makes sense, but as I go down, one of the conditions is deceased. Well, I figured I should list all my family members that have this medical condition. That'd be my great-grandfathers and my great-grandmothers. But should I list all four of them? Now that I think about it, my great-great-grandfathers and my great-great-grandmothers have that medical condition. All 8 of them. Pretty serious stuff. So I went on listing all my family that have this medical condition until I got tired. Haven't heard anything about my trick, but I did get my clearance to be on campus, so they probably appreciated my thoroughness. I find it quite satisfying to reply to intrusive questions on forums with none of your business. And our last story. Millions of dollars, folks. That's what it costs you when you argue about who's right, not about what's right. Growing up, my family ran a business dealing with water and wastewater pumps. By the time I was in high school, I worked for them outside of school as needed, and I'd grown up around the industry. At the time of this story, I was 16, maybe 17. I got a few funny looks out in the field sometimes, but normally wasn't a problem. This time, it was. Many sales they make are bids. You go to the Builder's Exchange, which is basically a library for plans and blueprints. You pull the plans, get to the part applicable to you, and see what they want or need. Then you submit a price you think will win you the job. Many times the plans will actually specify a model that meets their needs, in which case you bid that or a comparable one. Other times they'll give you specifications and selection, and matching is up to you, going through books and software for curves, chart that shows how it flows under load. This time was the former. The job is a retrofit/expansion on a city plant. The engineer had specified a model of pump he wanted, and I'd matched its specs, put in a submittal for approval, and the substitution is required. It gets approved, and we're cleared to enter a bid. We proceed forward, putting together the bid. At one point, I have the plans in front of me and I'm looking at the drawings. I don't like what I'm seeing, which is a lot of pipe and a lot of distance. I check and recheck and come with the same result. The total head is now how far you're pumping calculated by distance and including losses from the pipe, is too much for the pump that was specified, way too much. This puts the pump way outside its curve. It's going to be deep into overload. I used my corrected numbers and found a proper match, but not only was it significantly more expensive, but physically different, would require large revisions, so I put together a revised submittal with the numbers I ran and the recommended pump. It included the math from the drawings and the curves. Faxed it over to the engineer's office, then I called him. It didn't go well. Not only did he not listen to me, he was more than happy to lecture me. How dare I, a kid, tell him how to do his job? No, he would not accept any revisions or resubmittals. I had no idea what I was talking about, and I personally was no longer to have contact on this project. He did not use nice words. This couldn't stand. It was going to cause serious problems down the line, so I did the only thing I could think of. I found the contact for the city planning and told him, made it about 3 minutes into trying to explain who I was and why I was calling before he cut me off and told me to refer to the engineer and not to contact him again. Tried again for someone else later, did not make it past receptionist. As you wish. I took the revised submittal and filed it in the back of the job file and moved on. I wasn't needed for the rest and had other things to do plus school. Fast forward almost 2 years, now going to college, still working for my folks as needed, construction complete, gets called in for startup, goes smoothly as it should, and the countdown to destruction begins. I think the first one went after about 3 months. Only made it that long because those pumps are very well built. Emergency ship in a replacement. Second one a week or 3 after, then another, and the replacements start failing. The whole time, these are being invoiced, including emergency shipping and having to run out to start them up every time. They have no choice. This is the model the pads were cast for and the piping run for. You can't directly substitute something else, like, say, the correct pumps. Then it gets really fun. They start returning the burnt-out units for warranty. The factory starts receiving these and tearing them down for failure analysis. I told our rep straight up that they were being run way outside their design point knowingly. He was not amused. Warranties denied, they're billed for the diagnosis time and shipping. Manufacturer was in Germany, by the way. Shout out to the fine folks at KSB, love ya. These units are neither small nor light. Plus, these are being shipped as emergency orders. It's not cheap. Warranties officially denied to the buyer. We tell them in no uncertain terms that this isn't a problem with the units. This is now almost a year after the plant was due to come online. Now the crap has really hit the fan. City council gets involved because this is a municipal plant, lawsuits are threatened, and a council meeting is scheduled to discuss further action. I marked the day and arranged with my teachers to take a few days off. Didn't live close to home. Drove 3.5 hours to see my parents and to visit their filing cabinet. Right where I left it, out came the revised submittal, and a quick trip to Kinko's, local copy shop, provided some wonderful blown-up posters of said submittal, as well as the proofs behind it. The next day, I drove another 2.5 hours up to said city, had a lovely meatball sandwich at a restaurant right across the street from the council building, and showed up to the council meeting. I even dressed up nice for the occasion. I didn't say anything to anyone, just sat in the back in my chair with my rolled-up posters next to me and waited. Took about 40 minutes. The council finally brings up the plant. Guess who comes up to testify in front of the council? It's engineer. He goes on for about 10 minutes talking crap about our company and how we're denying the warranties, basically states that the problem is due to the substitution and that our pumps were substandard. This is a loss now counted in the millions between the downtime and replacement costs and rejected warranties, labor, etc. Council swallows his bullcrap hook, line, and sinker. He sits down and the council starts discussing among themselves. This is my cue. I stand up, approach the podium, and wait for them to notice me. Doesn't take long as I'm a teenager in a city council meeting. I introduce myself and unroll the posters. Me. Hi, I'm OP from blank. Before you proceed any further, you should probably have a look at this, which is the revised submittal I sent to engineer prior to the initial bid. You'll note the date. Also attached, you'll find the supporting calculations, relevant drawings from the original plans, and the recommendation of a larger suitable unit. You'll also see the fax acknowledgement sheet showing it was received by his office. Immediately after sending that, I contacted engineer directly and advised him of these issues. He declined. I was told outright to keep my nose out of things I didn't understand and to leave engineering to the adults. He was well aware the units would self-destruct if run at this point. After that, I called your planner, who refused to listen, and referred me back to engineer. If you'd like, I'd be more than willing to contact our phone provider so they can verify that fax and those calls were placed. I'm grinning like the Cheshire Cat at this point, and I'm not holding back the evil one bit. I'm sure I look like a psychopath, but I couldn't help it. Also didn't care. Dead effing silence. So yeah, the warranties are void as all the units are operated well beyond their design point. I still stand by the revised submittal, so feel free to call when you're ready. I'll leave these here. Still completely silent. The entire council looks like I just dropped my pants and mooned them. After a few seconds, one of the ladies on the council gave me a, "Thank you, Mr. OP, you can go." I left my posters on the podium, turned and walked, made full eye contact with the engineer as long as I could with that same grin. He looked like he was probably going to vomit. I didn't stick around to check. Stopped by to give my folks a hug on the way back to school, and that was the end of my involvement. No idea what happened to engineer or planner, but the city paid every invoice in full without another peep. They had to continue to purchase replacement after replacement to limp it along while simultaneously trying to refit the plant. They finally got it fixed after about another year, but by that time, I can't even imagine how far over the projected estimate they were. Great story, mate. Maybe the engineer learned a valuable lesson about not being prideful and actually listening to people. But then again, probably not. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.